Welcome everyone. It's May 25th, a Thursday night, just before Memorial Day 2023. I'm Steve Carver, presentation number 1055. So thank you for joining me on my journey into entrepreneurship and let me be a part of your journey as well. I'm not a lawyer or an accountant. I'm just a fellow that's been in business for 65 years. Learned a lot of stuff and pretty much in a position to give some good advice. Other places, the first piece of advice I always give is to get several opinions before you make a major move affecting your business or your security. And always a good place to get good second opinions is your small business centers. And tonight we're being sponsored by the Small Business Center at Nash Community College. Derek Armstead, the director there, is a wonderful advisor. Please get in touch with him. Here's his phone number and email address, and of course that's going to be in your handout as well. And also he's assisted by Ruthie Davis, who will probably join us later on. But she's a wonderful young lady who will work real hard to help you any way she can. So let me encourage you to be in touch with your small business centers. Next week, we're going to be talking about, how about that coming up June 8th? It's amazing how fast this year is going by. Next week, we're going to be talking about 10 ways to improve your cash flow. And then we're going to pick up the week after that with red flags about business and understanding DBAs, and then basically how to start a side hustle business. And that July 19th, starting a side hustle business will be very similar to what we're talking about tonight, but it will be more focused on types of businesses you can start very easy to kind of consider as a side hustle. And then through the summer, we'll have a few more before we get into a real busy season with 3 Academy series going on at the same time, starting in September. So thank you so much. We do have a couple of new folks with us tonight, and I'd like to welcome Catherine and Laura. I've been working since 1959 for 64 years now to do different types of work. Still got the same business, selling farm equipment. And then about 14 years ago, started coaching entrepreneurs, and that's turned into a semi-career in itself. So that I give these webinars and seminars and do private coaching too. Your handouts that have been emailed to you, if you did register, will include number 1055, which is the talking points of tonight. Then we're going to talk about 40 street smart skills, which will help everyone improve their DNA, or their small business management DNA. Then you got a handout about how to write promise, mission, and vision statements. And another, which is a sample planner model that we'll be focusing on tonight, and more about doing business as well. So if you didn't get those handouts, just go to your chat button, and I would like for you to sign in at chat and give me your name and your email address and your town, and I'll send those handouts to you. I'll be glad to do that. So let me tell you now, you're thinking about getting into small business, and as Valerie is with us tonight can attest to it, running and owning your own business is not a job for someone that's faint at heart. We don't have to be brave and patient and persistent to stay in there. So if you're a newcomer into entrepreneurship, get ready for a ride, because it's going to be exciting. My job is to motivate and to be assertive and to help you get to that next step. Wherever you are, we need to go to a next step. As Valerie says, she's been working hard at it now for 3 years to get her business growing, and there's always another step or two to go, and always some challenges. And I'll do my best to motivate you and help you any way I can. So please stay in touch and let me know.
What? They're talking today.
Tonight's presentation is going to be focused on creating a business plan, a business planner. And as plain and simple as that seems, it can get real complicated. So first of all, I want to tell you, don't worry about catching that dreaded disease analysis paralysis, putting the business plan together. Basically, I'm going to encourage us to have a timeline, a plan of what we need to do step by step, know the different steps, and then how to start watching ourselves get to the point that we need to start growing that business and moving forward. So your job, and I encourage you to remember that your job is to find the endurance. I love that word, endurance, to stay in the game long enough to see it through. And it will take some time. And I appreciate y'all's efforts doing it. I especially appreciate Valerie and Edna for hanging in there and keep plugging, because that's what it takes. I do it every day. I did it today. Had a real good business day myself after 64 years in business, still in the game. So therefore we're still winning, and that's what it takes. Encourage you to send an email to me. Again, tell me about your business, what kind of help you would like. Maybe you want to get in touch with a small business center. Maybe you just want some basic questions answered. I've got a whole file cabinet full of study guides that can help with a lot of different kinds of businesses and a lot of different types of situations. And there's no charge for anything that I do for you. So what you're going to need to learn to start doing pretty effectively, and the faster you can enhance your skills to do it, I want to encourage you to find a way to get your business on the internet. I want you to be involved in Facebook. Be proud of your personal photos and photos of your products or your services. Have a Google My Business account, which is like getting a free website, and learn to do videos. They can be so very important for you. The more videos that you can put out there and the more different types of websites you can link to, the faster your business is going to grow. So if you want to, over in the chat board, tell me what kind of business that you're thinking about starting, and I can refer to it tonight, or you can just come on board. I'll just take a break now if you'd like to turn your mic on and talk to us a little bit about the type of business that you're thinking about starting. We'll be glad to see what we can do for you. Anybody want to share with us now about that?
Well, Mr. Carver, this is Valerie Smith. I do have a business, Golden Point Transit Plus, which is a non-emergency wheelchair accessible transportation service in Wilmington, North Carolina and surrounding areas. But with the Plus, I'm also a resource for mainly seniors or people that's needing additional help. And one of the things I found this time of the year, especially where I'm located, is they're looking for someone to cut their grass or do lawn care because they either don't do weed eating or shredding or bushes. And so I've partnered with someone, and they're helping me assist the elderly as far as getting their grass cut at a reduced rate. So I think that may be something that I'm going to be looking into gearing up either next year and come up with a plan during the summer, spring months, or come up with a yearly plan possibly of like when the leaves start falling in the yards of people that do have a lot of trees. So that's another avenue I'm looking at, I think, starting.
I like that. That's a good extra profit center, you might add, that doesn't really increase your overhead, but gives you the ability to create some additional income and partner maybe with some other entrepreneurs to benefit everybody. So thank you for sharing that. Anyone else want to share about what you're doing in your business that you think is going to work or you're going to let us work on tonight? Catherine, I'm glad to see you on board with us. And if you have any comments you'd like to make? All right, we don't be bashful. We'll help each other all that we can. So let's talk about the 10 steps that we're going to consider when we're writing a business plan. We're going to talk about what is the plan, why have it, A planner will help us with some timelines. What are business models that will help us determine our income and expense estimates? How are we going to connect those models and to create a business plan? We're going to talk about the actual full-blown structured business plan. Not going to do one tonight, but to make sure you're aware of all the components. If you're looking at a large, sophisticated business, you might need a larger, more sophisticated business plan. The ownership of your business could be important, especially if you think about selling stock in it. We don't need to be considered about startup funds and how to build our own self-confidence so we can tell people what we're doing in our business in such a way to help encourage them to do business with us. And we need to believe and trust in ourselves and our skills to keep moving forward. So that's the main points we're going to look at tonight. So why do you want a business plan? What do you want to do? Well, if we're all starting out with a blank page and our map doesn't have any directions on it, then there's an excellent chance we're going to run in the ditch and have some pitfalls that indeed may get us in trouble along the way. So a business plan helps us kind of have a map to our treasure, how to get there. X marks the spot for success. We need some way, if we're going to look to for investors to help us, we're going to need to lay out and tell them what our business is all about and where we're headed with it. So documenting that course is like having a roadmap or a chart if you're on a boat. And all this is to help us avoid unexpected pitfalls and expenses that are always right around the corner. So talking about them, bringing it up time after time really helps us to end up where we want to end up, and that's in black ink, which is a profitable situation for our business. Red ink means we're spending more money than we're bringing in. So the business plan is going to help us estimate how much money we can make and subtract what our expenses are, and then know if we need to make some changes or add some profit centers to be more profitable. Also, part of this is to determine how much time we're going to be able to give to our business. So we're going to start with two different types of plans. One plan is a timeline, a calendar, so to speak, for the different things we need to achieve. The next type of document that we need is a model, a profit model, and expense models where we take the individual parts of our business and determine how much it's going to cost us to do individual things or sell individual products, and also estimate not only the cost but also the potential income so that we can estimate our future revenues that are going to be coming in. So let's look at this one-page planner. This is one of your handouts that have been sent to you or that I'll send to you, where I list down a 6-month plan starting in May. Of course, we're here on May 25th, so we're 10 days late into it from these dates, but these dates would change depending on what your timeline is, because you're going to need to pace yourself for your job to get there on the timeline you're comfortable with. So we'll look at some things that we need to do to begin with and to make sure we have accomplished before we actually are considered wide open and in business and ready to go. First thing I want to ask you to do is actually write down on paper, on your computer, and save it, the list of products and services that you plan to provide. Just as Valerie opened up, she's got a certain menu of things that she can do for her customers, and therefore that's important so that she can market it and talk about it and come up with prices for each thing that we do. We also want to talk about the things that maybe we need to learn about, things you don't know that you know you need to know, certain skills, certain things to do, how to go about doing certain things. Make a list of the things that you are sure that you're uncertain of. And this is a great place that you can make that list and send it to me by email, and I'll bring it up in future webinars for us, and we'll talk about them. Or maybe I can respond to you with some suggestions and study guides to help you start moving forward even faster than attending these webinars from time to time. I'll be glad to do that, but you know where you're strong and you know where you're weak, and we all have our places that we can improve. So let's think about that. Now, we have to have a menu of what we're going to charge our customers, or a good idea. And if you're just getting started, I know you don't have an exact cost, but watching competition and what you feel in your heart, probably the price is going to be, that's an excellent place to start. These menus with prices and details will be changing all the time as the market changes, as your needs change, as your customers' needs change. So writing the menu the first time, we're going to rewrite it all the time. There's not a day goes by that I don't have to make pricing changes at our website, carverequipment.com, where there's over 1,700 pages. There's always something that has to be done that way. So go ahead and get started in it, because it's going to be a part of doing business. Just like Valerie with her transportation business, I'm sure that when fuel costs got up close to $5 last summer, she probably had to make some adjustments, and now prices are coming down. Maybe she's able to adjust them down a little bit, but there's always something changing, and our menu always has to change too. So once we've decided what we're going to sell, then we have to decide who are the best customer groups that we're probably going to find success with. Where are those customers at? Who are they? What do I have in common with them? And we're going to make a list of targeted customer groups. Now, I mentioned here that in each one of these items, over in the fall, starting in September, we'll take each one of these items and spend the whole night just talking about each type of item here, so that you'll be able to really let this sink in and get a good hold on it for your business. But what customer groups are you going to be serving? Senior citizens, kindergarten students, teenagers, moms, pops, veterans, whoever they are. Think about it, and let's write down our best target customer groups. And the business world will call that the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit group are those people easy to reach and that you can harvest very easily with little expense. That's where you'll start your business and become sustainable quicker than anywhere else is, with that local, low-hanging fruit group of targeted customers. Now, we need to survey our markets and determine the locations that we'll find our best spots for most customers, survey the market for what they're most interested in, that they will buy now, so that when you come out in the market, you can actually start selling your products. Now, within your first 60 days, we need to determine what your startup costs are going to be. Some of your startup costs won't be any more than a mop in a bucket or a lawnmower, if that's what you plan to be doing, cleaning or mowing grass, where other startup costs may involve a vehicle to purchase, like Valerie's, and which I imagine purchasing a new vehicle would run in the $50,000 to $75,000 range. So getting started in business, that's tough. So we'd probably try to find a used vehicle that we could afford and make payments on better. All businesses will have a startup cost. The good news is that sometimes that cost can be under $1,000, under $5,000. And if that's the case, maybe we can get into business without going into debt by having some fundraisers, figure out a way to raise money on our own without going into debt. And that's a good situation. But right away, we're going to need to know this is all about handling money, buying things and spending things and getting paid for them. So we'll need a business account at some point. A bank account that's in the business name, where that you can keep up with your funds, your business money separate than your personal money. And that's an important thing to do as you're getting started. Now, does that mean that I need to have this business account before I actually start doing business? No. As a matter of fact, I don't encourage that. I encourage you to do what you can as a sole entrepreneur or just as an individual trying things. You can still keep up with your business expenses, keep your receipts and all, but that doesn't mean you need to go out and get all excited about getting an LLC and a business a banking account and this and that. There is a time that needs to happen, but there's these other things can get into place before that, but you need to be prepared to do that. If you're going to have an off-site location, in other words, a bricks and mortar business, we're going to need to determine where that location is and think about what's going to be involved in it. And that's going to be a big deal because there's three types of businesses: one that you operate at home, one that you operate from home, get in your vehicle and go out and do work, but end up back home, and the other is where you got an office or a storefront somewhere else. In those cases, insurance is always going to be part of what we have to consider. So in the first 90 days, you want to have a good handle on where you're headed with your insurance. Now, having a business is one thing, but just because you have the business and you're ready to do business doesn't mean that customers know where you're at or want to come and find you. What this is all about is once you're ready, then you've got to bring the customers to you. Help the customers find you. Be ready to serve the customers, and when you do talk to them, know how you're going to handle that information for the future. And that's called a marketing campaign. And that's very important. And my favorite type of marketing campaign, we call it the Golden Goose campaign, because I will guarantee you, if you follow the structure in our Golden Goose marketing campaign, you will get your business set up for good growth in the future. And you'll know what's coming next. So marketing plan is important to put into place. So if you're ready to give serious consideration to that, we'll be having some marketing webinars in the summer, but in the fall, we really will focus on that during September. And even now, I can send you lots of study guides about how to get your thoughts in line to get your marketing campaign up and running. Now, when I say marketing, that probably means you're going to need to spend a little money and make an investment, because you're not going to get a return on your investment unless you put some money in it. So we're going to be talking about things like getting your website or your business cards or your posters or your signage, campaigns, maybe some email campaigns, developing some slogans, doing business ads. There's a lot to do in developing your marketing campaign that we can help you do, and you want to do that to be ready to be in business. If you're going to be buying and selling products, you don't need to have some negotiating and forecasting skills so that you can handle that and be able to buy at a price that you can resell items. The key to having a good sale is to know how to buy. So you need to buy low enough that you can sell above fair market value and make some profit. So enhancing your negotiating and forecasting skills, Edna and Catherine, are going to be very, very important. Okay, so we kind of got that base built, that little structure built down to think about what are we going to do now. So in month 4 would be the time to start a marketing campaign, to prepare your location if you don't have a place with furniture and fixtures. Make sure that you're meeting all the local codes, the building codes and advertising codes. And if you've got products and you're making investments inside of a storefront or a vehicle, then it's time to let's get some insurance and make sure we got the proper types of license and tax numbers to do business. So we're moving into the more serious time to get set up as a business to become legal at about month 4 there. So we're basically legal now. We're moving into month 5. We're only 2 months away from a grand opening. So we're going to bring in some stock. We're going to get our merchandising, our pricing just right. So learn how to price our products so that we can negotiate, offer some discounts, and still end up making good profit. Maybe we need to train some staff on product knowledge, on sale knowledge, on how to close a sale and how to get information from customers, how to do some bookkeeping work, write invoices and such as that. So we need to plan all that, and that would normally come in month 5 here. And then I want you to have a soft opening. In other words, before you start spending any big bucks on a grand opening and really a lot of money in marketing, make sure that everything is fine-tuned and you're ready to do business. People know what to do, how to handle it. You have some practice sessions, a few customers where you actually handle the transactions, make the deposits, have your database set up so you're ready to start loading it with new information for customers. And then, by golly, we're all set. Take a deep breath and let's have that grand opening. Let's go for it. Bring a lot of people in. Try to start creating raving fan customers. Make sure you got plenty of people to look after your customers. That's what it takes. If you're doing all this yourself, make sure you got your email set up, you got your quotation set up, your database, and your product knowledge is ready so that when people start calling you and talking about doing business with you, by golly, you're going to be ready to go. So this is what I call the 6-month one-time planner. Each one of you will take care of doing that on your own and keep up with it on your own time frame, so that indeed you would be able to watch your progress and see your mileposts. Now, as you start on this, you may rearrange the order depending on what your individual business or situation is. But if you get to one of these spots and you're just not sure how to get there to go to the next step, then drop me an email or talk to your small business center director about what am I talking about here? How can I get there from where you are now? And we'll be glad to help you take that next step. So looking this over now, if any of you are at one of these places or thinking about what we're talking about, if you want to ask questions about it, now's a good time to do it. We'll take a minute. We've got a reasonably small audience tonight, so we can leave your microphones on and ask questions if you'd like. So I'll give you a break here to talk about it. Edmund, do you have something?
Yeah, I have one. Now, the question I have is, like, me starting a tour business, right? When do I need to set up, like, now I'm working on my web page and all of that. Now, for my transaction for the payment, I know all of that have to be set up before.
You're speaking of when you accept money from your customer, what do you do with it?
Yes, like they're going to have to pay online. I'm going to have the online with the Square because I decided to go with Square.
Okay.
And,
have you already got that set up?
No, not yet. I'm in the midst of doing some more stuff before I actually do that because I have not put anything out there for my first tour yet. But that's in the works that I'm working on that too.
So very informally, your steps would be, number one, you don't need to go to the bank and get a business checking account. And to get a business checking account, that means you're going to need an EIN number, an employer identification number. Have you got that yet?
Tomorrow.
Okay. And you don't need to have a name for your business, a business name. Now,
Legacy Enterprise.
All right. So that can be an incorporated or an LLC, or it can just be your name doing business as a sole proprietor. but you don't need a business account. So when you talk to Square, the credit card people, and Valerie, I hope you're listening too, because this will apply to you. We were talking about this earlier.
I told you the next day you emailed me, the day that you emailed me, I had spoken with somebody the next day.
Good for you. So when you are ready to set up with Square, they're going to need to have an account number, a tracking number, or routing number they call it, so that when you take money with their system, it automatically goes into your account. It's not a hard thing to do. Once you set up your bank account, then Square will be ready to send money to you. Okay?
Okay.
And they are, and you right on your computer, you'll be able to see how much money you put in, how much they charge, and they're going to charge you 3.5%, pretty much across the board, and that's pretty much where the market is right now. Right now, I'm giving them all my business on a 6-month trial. So far, I'm very happy with them.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, so then the money would go in your business account, and then you would pay your bills out of that account and hopefully start saving up some money with your profits.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Someone that is next step you're concerned about?
Mr. Carver, this is Valerie. I got one question with the Square. Do you pay that 3.5% or do you put that on your customers?
I add it. I make it a part of my doing business. If a customer pays me with a cash or check, that's the price. But if they pay me with a card, I add 4.5% to the bill. So some businesses add 5, some add 6, but I add 4.5% for credit card business.
Thank you.
All right. Now, let me tell you, Valerie, if your bills are under $100 average, then I suggest you just go ahead and add the 4.5% to your menu or prices, and don't mention credit cards. Let them pay you either in cash, check, or credit card. If they pay you in cash or check, you can make a little extra money, or you can give them a little discount. But I put my menu including the credit card fee. I have to break it out because the things that we sell are very expensive, $10, $15, $20,000, and that 4.5% adds up to a big lick. And some people still pay it. A lot of people got to change their mind. They want to send me a check. Okay, any other comments? All right, if something comes up, it'll be just fine to interrupt me. Just chime in. Glad to have you on board. All right, let's look at what I'm talking about now with your business model. Our business plan is going to end up being like a building that we build with Lego blocks. We're going to snap together business models that are for income and expense models. We're going to figure them out as little pieces, and then after we figure out what our profit centers are making us and how much it's going to cost us, we're going to snap it all together. So I'm going to give you some examples here on the screen that you'll have some pages that look basically like this in your handout that you can use. For the individual things that you're selling, you'll figure out how much you're going to make on them individually. That's going to help us determine how many we need to sell to make a significant income, and do the same thing for the expenses. So we'll have a blank page for each one of our income and expense models. So this is an income model on some type of product, and then we'll figure out what it's costing us and how many we plan to sell during, I base this on 6 months, during the first 6 months, so we can determine on maybe what our income will be. And we'll take that information on how much revenue we're going to get, how much expense is, and that's going to tell us what's left. Now remember, this what's left number, what are we going to call that? We're going to call it revenue or profit or margin or deposit or earnings. It could be any one of those items, but for our teaching purposes and coaching purposes, for where we are right now, let's call it margin. We don't want to confuse margin and profit too much. because margin is what we're going to do on the individual items. Profit's going to be what we do on the business as a whole at the end of the day. So let's say that you're planning on getting into the used car business, pre-owned automobiles, which is a great business to get into. Don't require a whole lot of red tape, not like some others. Good profit potential. Don't cost a lot of money to get into it compared to some things, but it's easy for me to use as a guide because used cars that you see all over the place on these lots basically are purchased by the entrepreneur in car auctions that look kind of like this. The cars are pulled through. The people back here in the stands back here are bidding on them. Somebody's going to buy that car, carry it home, and put it to work. So they're going to buy it here, carry it home, put the flags on it, put the stickers on it, and try to sell it. Good news is with used cars, if you don't sell it, you can carry it back to the auction and probably get your money back, provided you didn't pay too much for it. So we got it home now, we need to sell it. Now, if you take all the market together, most of the used car dealers, their primary thing that they're selling is a $6,000 car. A lot of used cars for $6,000. They're older, they got plenty of miles on them, but they're affordable for people that need something better than walking, that are trying to get their children their first car, maybe a second car to go to work on, or emergency car. So $6,000 is the number of most used car dealers will always have a good group of these cars that they can sell in that range because there's so many people that can afford them. Now, during the 6-month period in a good urban area, you should be able to sell easily 15 cars a month in this range. 15 cars a month would be in a 6-month period, that'd be 90 vehicles. So you would bring in $540,000 if you sold 90 $6,000 cars. Look at there, that's $500,000, more than $500,000. So in entrepreneurship, even selling older used cars, you're going to get up into the millions of dollars real quickly. It's kind of surprising how much cash flow that you can generate. But if we went to the sale, we would have only spent $4,000, no more than $4,000 on that car that we're planning on selling for $6,000. That's right. So during that 6-month period, we would have bought 90 $4,000 cars and spent $360,000. You with me so far? So bought in 540, spent 360. Look at there, what's left? $180,000. It's a pretty significant number, isn't it, for 6 months? $180,000. What are we going to call it? Not profit. We're going to call that margin. That's our margin in a 6-month period. So that would be our business model for $6,000 cars. One of the things we're going to have in our business plan, profit centers, are cars that we sell in the $6,000 range, and this model that we've just figured out right here, that would be the thing that we plug in. Now, you're going to be selling some other items, different items, that are going to have different values, but I'm saying that you'll take that blank sheet of paper and fill in what it takes to make your model work. Now, I know a lot of you are not selling products. You're selling time for money, and time for money hadn't got anything to do with these products. So I want to talk about that. Let's say you're going to be a stylist at a salon, or you don't teach webinars like I do, or piano lessons, or do what Valerie does, is to drive people, chauffeur them from place to place. If you're selling time for money, you need to approach your business plan in a totally different way. But still, you would need to do it with income and expense models. So let's say the type of work that you're doing, wherever it is, you can work with 4 people a day. You can plan on serving 4 folks a day. If you were a barber, you might serve 21 people a day, or 30. A stylist might serve 10 people a day. A dentist might serve 15 people a day. So every type of job will have a different number of slots they have for appointments. That we have to figure out what those slots are, put a value on each one of them, so that we'll know how much income we can make during a single day period. Now, it's important that selling time for money, that your business plan plans on you meeting your budget, working 4 days a week, 4 weeks a month. So a month in your business plan will only have 16 days in it, and that's where I want you to make the income that you need to make. So Valerie, when you mentioned earlier that that you're not working every day. Some days on weekends you plan to work and such as that. See, what I'm hearing you say is you've already got in your mind how many days you need to be working to meet your basic income goals, and that's important. And every type of business will be different. In your business, I'm hearing you say that weekends are your busiest time, and in some other businesses, they may not want to work at all on weekends, but I'm saying let's try to get it done in 4 days a week. That leaves you 3 more days to catch up with problems, to deal with weather issues, to make repairs, to go to church, to spend some time with your family and look after your personal business. It also gives you time to enlarge your business if you want. But plan your calendar, your appointment schedules on 4 days a week to make the money that you need to make. So we'll take what we make on these income days. We'll see what our revenue estimate is. Then we'll take away our cost, our projected cost for that time, to come up with a business model. And what's left, that again will be margin when you're selling time for money. Now let's say that the work that you're looking at is let's say you're going to be a graphic designer and a marketing service provider. And you figure that you can work with 4 clients a day, have 4 appointments a day, even if you're traveling back and forth to their office or they're coming to your office. Of course, it's always better to get them to come to you so that you don't have to spend the travel money. But each appointment value, you're going to put at $150 per appointment. Therefore, every day for 4 days, you're planning on generating $600. 4 appointments at $150 apiece for $600. This is your business plan that you figured out. Different types of businesses would have maybe a different schedule. So in 96 days working, you're going to generate $57,600. And you have figured out that basically your costs are $200 a day. And so your basic expenses for that period of time will be $19,200. So we've got to compare those, which leaves us $38,400. How about that? $38,400 is our projected what's left margin. Is it profit? No, it's margin for that particular 4 days a week, 4 weeks a month, $38,400. So each one of those are income expense models like Lego blocks. Then we're going to save those up. We're going to do one of those sheets for each different type of profit center we have. Each different type to determine what we can do. For example, if you were selling time for money, you might have a profit center sheet like we just looked at for $150 appointments, 4 per day. Or you may have some clients that you're planning with working on all day long, and that would be 1 appointment at $600 a day, or maybe in your business it's a $1,000 appointment. Every business will be different, but every one you need to take the steps to figure out what your estimated income is going to be for doing it. Now, there's all other kinds of things that we need to determine, and it's really unique that Valerie is with us tonight because every business is different. So she and I compared some notes and came up with different wrinkles that someone in their transportation services would have to consider. Because when you're doing this, not only are you selling time for money? But part of what we're doing is spending extra money for extra miles that we travel. So we have to take in a lot of different things into consideration. So basically what we came up with is you need 3 starting points of consideration as things start getting complicated in a business like this. And this may be similar to what yours is going to be doing too. Because you have to figure up your hours and estimate what that's going to be value for you. And during the day's time, you have to kind of estimate what your mileage will be and how much per mile you're going to be spending. So depending on what your plan is, you take all those things into consideration, and then you come down and you add the things that are unique to your business, like different profit margins that you want to work, how many days a week and how many months and such as that. So, for example, charging $45 an hour as your target income would basically bring in on an average day, and all this is guesswork, I know, but $13,000, almost $14,000 a month if your plan was based on $45 per hour. But also you need to look at now, how many trips do you need to make to cover yourself in what you need to do on a planned day. So if you were going to do 7 trips per day, or you had 7 clients per day, you could generate that $872 that you need for your target if you were charging $125. But if you were going to just do 2 trips a day to generate $872, you would have to charge that client $449. And therefore you see that the more schedules that you can include, the more trips per day will let you reduce the cost per trip to end up with the money that you need to make total. Like everything else, volume always comes into play. The more you do, if you got your prices right, you can make some adjustments there down to a certain point. But you always have to have an advanced planner in your mind when you're negotiating to see how much you will need to quote the different people as you're talking to them. So at $50 per trip, at 17 trips a day, you generate $872. But 17 trips a day is a lot of trips. That's a lot of trips. If you're working 8 hours, that's 2 trips per hour. And you can generate some good money, but you got to have that number there to make it work. So how do you approach this? First of all, you set up, just like we said earlier, you set up an income goal for every day and for every week. You want to have a minimum amount of money that you're bringing in, and you will have a plan that helps you get to that goal. Number 2, you want to create an advertised ticket price. In other words, have a good starting place that when you're talking with a client, you've got a starting place to ask them for the money. And indeed, if they want to negotiate, you build in a place here to negotiate, but you have some extra room in your pricing so you can come down a little bit. The more time, the more miles, the more money that they're offering to you will have a lot to do with how you're coming. But the key is to have that first price that you quote padded to know that there's going to be some negotiation coming on. People are not embarrassed about asking for a better price. People will ask you to discount, and you have to be ready for that in this situation. Number 3 is we need to balance what you absolutely got to have, minimum, between what the market will let you make. And somewhere in the middle, we've got to find the balance that lets you pay your bills, pay your taxes, and pay yourself. Now that's just basically making grocery money right there. Paying your bills, paying your taxes, and paying yourself. But hopefully you've got enough extra in your pricing that you will make a little bit more to start making some profit. Because up to this point, we didn't make any money. We were just taking money in and using it up. But a business should be making some extra money so that you can reinvest or be setting aside some money for the future. That is so important. A lot of us in entrepreneurship say that we're in business. And in a sense, we are. But are we in a business where we're actually making extra money and saving money, putting some extra money aside each month or two, so that we see that our business worth go up and our personal wealth go up, our savings accounts go up, by the extra money we're making above just what we're spending from paycheck to paycheck. That's why you want to be an entrepreneur. You could probably make enough money to pay your bills and pay your taxes and get paid yourself without all the hassle of owning your own business. That's just a fact, Jack. The difference in what you're going to do is not only are you going to do these things on your own and be your own boss, and maybe you'll get the extra benefit of having enough extra profit in what you're doing to see your personal wealth go up indeed, and that you're creating more savings for a rainy day. That's kind of the goal of entrepreneurship, is to be your own boss, which is a good thing, but be your own boss. Then now I want you to be a better manager so that you'll be more profitable and see your wealth increase. So now we got our business models. We know we got to put them together, our income and our profit models. So here's a good example of what we're doing when we connect our revenue generators with our expenses, put them together and see how they equal out. I hope I didn't lose you there. This is a real simple plan that if you work with it, you can do it. Last semester, I had in our Academy series, which is a series of 7 to 10 lessons where we go through a structured learning process where people can have examples. I had four classmates with us in there who actually put their business plans together using these models, and it was really incredible how easy they said it was and how enlightening. Because what it brought out to people that were selling products was, yeah, I can make some good money on this, but I'm not sure I can sell enough of them to end up with a substantial amount to pay bills. Yeah, and after I pay my bills, what's going to be left? So some people said that they thought they would have a good business selling 10 of an item, but it ended up we were going to need to sell 100 of them in order to make significant income. So then we look at our business plan. Can we go about doing that and figure it out? So that's why you're going through this model. So what is a business model? It can be as complicated or as simple as you want to make it. You might have to take in, to be sophisticated and complicated, take in all the intricate parts of a large business, or it could be as simple as I'm going to go up to Dublin, North Carolina and buy some peanuts at the peanut factory up there, buy a box of peanuts for $10 and sell them for $20. And you can do that. You go to Houston's Peanuts right now, buy wholesale roasted peanuts in the bags, bring them back to the ball games and walk around and double your money on them. That's a simple business plan, and it's a good business plan. It's a place to start. So look at the individual things that you plan to do. Let's break it down and see how much money we can make with it and get started. The more complicated it gets, you'll understand it as you go. But generally with these models, you can put something together within a couple of hours on a little business plan. Because it's easy to adjust them and such as that. When we snap them together and bring in the other things that we need to consider, we can do that. Your monetary investments, your total investments will be a part of it, your sales revenues. What you can figure out easily what your return on investment will be. And then the total funding requirements of the project. Like when I was going to buy 10 boxes of peanuts, I was going to need to have $200. But if I'm going to buy 20 boxes of peanuts, then I got to have $400. So that becomes a part of our startup expenses, and it needs to be plugged into our business planner. So think about that, getting started. What do you need to start with? The good news here is that a large inventory is not worth a darn unless we're going to turn it over quickly, because we don't make any money till we actually sell something. So I'm not encouraging anyone to start out with a huge inventory of anything. We'll start out small and see how those sales go and project them. And that way we can project our income and our revenues as they step up without taking a lot of risk. Now your business plan itself, which you got a copy of, the page that ends up telling you what your business plan is looks like this. We'll take all of our different business models, our income profit centers, and where we projected how much we're going to create income and subtracted how much our cost was going to be. And on each line out here on the right-hand side, we'll project what our margins were for that individual profit center. After we take our costs away from our income projections, what's left is that margin for that particular profit center. And we need all different types of profit centers to put it together, and we'll list those down. So if you're doing your business plan, when I see you just got one profit center, I'll say, no, we need to go back, because I want you to have at least 5 different revenue generators in your business. I want you to have some revenue generators that bring in new traffic, that create new customers, some that have really good high margins in them. I want you to have revenue generators that promote repeat business, and some that have some big ticket sales there. And when we have these different types of profit centers, we're going to be sustainable and be able to stay in business. And then we'll look at some other expense models, different ways that we don't have to spend money, like down at the bottom here in red ink. Like we don't have to pay debts. We don't have to pay salary and payrolls. We don't have to pay out general cost of doing business, COBD, telephone bills, insurance bills, those kind of things. We don't have to spend some money on marketing, so we need that marketing budget plugged in there. And then we don't have those one-time costs of getting started needs to be put on that sheet too. So looking at a 6-month or a 1-year business plan projections, this is what your sheet of paper would look like, but you would pencil in the different things that you're doing. Again, you can take this as a guide, and I sent this to you in a Word form, a Microsoft Word file, so you can change these, you can put this right in your computer and change the names of these different things to suit your business, plug in the numbers, and we'll get started on your business plan. It is really no more complicated than that. Here's a little graphic one of your fellow classmates did for us, showing us how we could do it, and this is a good place to start. You can just take a pencil and one of these graphs right here and start penciling in and erasing your thoughts as you go down, coming up with the different ways that you know that you're going to make money and the different ways that you're going to have to spend money, and start putting in some check marks there or some numbers and just let the process begin. And that's all you can ask for right now. Let the process begin to figure out what you're projecting will be your profit. Now, this number down at the bottom, what's left, that don't need to be a number that we just come up with out of the blue that would feel good as for our business to generate. No. I'd rather you in your own mind say, I want my business to generate at least X amount of money of profit during the first 6 months. I wanted to generate $5,000, $50,000, $100,000. That number would go right down at the bottom in advance. And then from there, we'd work our way up and figure out how many profit centers we needed to have and how much money they needed to generate. We'd take and then see how much expenses we can have so that we can indeed end up with our goal at the bottom. What am I saying? I want this to be your business plan that is designed to meet your goals. It's designed to meet your needs, because that's what's important here. It's just not whatever it is, it's whatever you want it to be, because you will never achieve your goal if you don't set it. So let's start right here, setting our goal and helping our business plan get us where we need to go. We'll talk about different types of revenues. We'll talk about places that your money can come from. You see, your money's don't come from your profit centers. That's all these models that we did. But also, you're going to be collecting some taxes. Maybe your business is time for money, or maybe you're going to be making your money on commissions. That maybe that's your type of business. You're selling real estate or selling whatever it is that you're selling for a manufacturer or for products. And those are good businesses, but we're going to need to estimate what your commissions need to be for you to know how much sales you've got to make to earn those commissions. And then we put together a marketing plan to help you reasonably think you can make that amount of sales if you stay with it. I'm so happy to tell you that this is not rocket science. It is setting goals, reasonable, achievable goals that you feel good about, and then staying with the plan. Staying with the plan. And that's why, as Derek and Ruthie has said to us and planted this, well, we want this to be your ultimate business planner. Ultimate meaning it will eventually help you reach the goal that you have preset, and it's a plan to get there. And I believe with all my heart that you can do that, because I see people doing it. We'll have to figure out what our expenses are. There are a lot of different expenses that may come into play, and that's just fine. There's some that you might not even think about. But what's left, I want it to be your goal. What's left, I want it to be the number that you feel good about. What's left is the number that is achievable, and what's left, how are we going to get there to make that work? That's why we're having these lessons. So getting started, think about naming your business now. And it don't have to be a fancy name. It can just be a doing business as type name. But it's important in naming your business is that you make that name have a reference to what you're doing. Remember that we're going to be using it on the internet a lot. So does the name of your business tell the shopper what you're going to be doing for them? That marketing plan, once you come up with those profit centers, those marketable profit centers, you'll automatically list those down, and then we'll start figuring out a marketing plan, a targeted customer group for each one of them, and put a dollar figure beside them or a method to start doing business. If you're like me and not too savvy about developing websites, then let's find someone to help you get on the internet, a webmaster or someone to help you with social media. There are plenty of folks that can do that, very reasonable in their prices. And that investment should bring you automatic returns as soon as you kick it in. So if you've got someone that says, I'll do that for you for free, generally free means you're not going to get much. And free means you're going to have to wait until they cover everything else on their to-do list before they get to you. So I'm saying be prepared to, if you have to, hire someone to help get you jump started on social media. And through the webinars and seminars, we'll show you lots and lots of things that you can do yourself, provided you want to go that way. So business plans are very, very important. And as a template, if you were going to a university studying business plans, and that'll be at every business school, they're going to tell you that a sophisticated business plan will have at least 7 sections in it to cover all the bases for really big businesses. And I need to at least show you them so you'll know. The first part of an official sophisticated business plan is always the executive summary. That's the last thing that you write, but it's the first thing in your plan. And it summarizes all the other stuff in your business plan, the executive summary. But I'd like to tell you right now, the executive summary can be very short, and consider it as an appetizer or a preview to what's to follow in the plan. Kind of like right now we're seeing TV shows and movies being projected for the summer, and they send out these previews, that get you excited about it, get your appetite. You want to see this, reserve a date to go see it. That's what an executive summary needs to do, is to help the reader get excited about what's to come. In that, you would mention your business name, different things you're going to do, what your website name's going to be. Now, your income goal won't be in there, but this is the place. This is the place that I want you to go ahead and determine. Pull a number out of the air that you feel good about and plug it in, write it down. 50,000, 25,000, what your income goal is, maybe for the business or maybe for yourself, whichever. But this is an important first step in business planning, is for you to come up with that income goal so that we can build a plan that's going to get us there. If you want to go to Paris, then that's your goal. And therefore, if we're going to build a map, we're going to get a map that's going to carry us to the different locations to get to Paris, right? Same way with a business plan. Next, a very important consideration for you as an individual to make: how many hours a week are you going to actually schedule and devote to working in your business, to working with customers, to selling product, to generating business? How many hours can you give? Because I know that a lot of us here, maybe you're looking at this as a second thing to do. Maybe it's, I'm going to try it. It's part-time. If that's the case, we're going to take these number of hours that you write down that you're willing to give to it and divide it into that number of dollars that you want that goal to be, to have what's left. Now, guess what? Once we know how many hours and what your revenue projections are, and we divide them together, you will automatically know how much money you need to generate per hour. And that's when things get real serious. Are you going to be able to give it the hours that it takes to generate the money? Well, maybe you think I'm trying to scare you here, but I'm not. I'm really trying to motivate and encourage you, because probably there is no way in the world that you can generate enough hours of money per hour to do what your business needs to do. And if you do, I'm going to be surprised, because generally we have to find a way to delegate to profit centers, to other methods or other strategies to help take our hours and stretch them out to the point that can really just blow us away with how much money revenue we can bring in working the hours that we do. That's with better marketing, with better tools to work with, like using Square to bring in our money, using emails and a website to bring in money, maybe setting up a shopping cart at your website, hiring people, having some associates, using other websites. There are a lot of ways that you as an entrepreneur, manager, and owner of your business can delegate to other types of sources to help generate income for your business. That's why entrepreneurship is a great thing, because there's not but 24 hours in the day, and you're already busy, but you want to do more, like I want to do more. This is how we go about it. First of all is setting that income goal and figuring out a way to get there. Our business plan will have a section that just describes the company in general terms, gives a little brief history, talks about the legal structure that you're planning to do. But what do you need to do? Just on a piece of paper, generally write down about 4 lines, giving a brief description of what your company is, where it is, and what you're going to be doing. Then there'll be a number 3 that tells about what you're actually selling, the merchandise you're selling or the types of services you're selling. We're going to list them out. And again, I'm going to repeat, I want you to have at least 5 marketable profit centers. That's what this is. What's going to generate the revenue in your business, and you will explain that a little bit. And in your business plan, you're going to be very vague about what's left, about what the projected revenues are going to be and the projected expenses, and then the projected margin. All this is estimates. Don't expect it to be anything but that. And nobody else will either. So you might say, I can't do these numbers. I don't know what the numbers are. Well, of course you don't, and no one else does either. But we do know how to come up with projections using these models. So let's keep it simple. We're going to use estimated expenses and revenues. We're going to project the gross sales and to see what the ultimate figures will be at the bottom, to see what ultimately we might have left. And that'll give us a generally good idea as to whether or not we're headed in the right direction. So if you come up with your initial projections and they stand a little bit of scrutiny, and you've got black ink down at the bottom and what's left, hallelujah, all right, congratulate yourself. We're going to roll on and kick it in gear. But the chances are best that it's going to be red ink. The chances are best that your business plan does not meet and generate the goal that you had down at the bottom and what's left. And if that's the case, what are you going to do? Throw it away? No, you've got too much work invested here. So if we've got red ink at the bottom, it's time to go to work. We're going to add more profit centers, change our margins, figure out how to increase some sales. Maybe there's some expenses we can reduce, or maybe we just need to look at it in the big picture and shake it up and recalculate everything. And that's perfectly normal. That is what you call writing a business plan and then rewriting it and rewriting it and rewriting it until you come up with black ink at the bottom of what's left. Now, there's a lot of different expenses that you can look at, opportunities. This is an opportunity that someone came up with where a fellow was in the trucking business. And this company came to him and said, look here, I'll guarantee you $305,000 a year if you'll haul my products. I'll guarantee you $300,000 a year. And even broke it down with how many miles they're going to be traveling. Now, this is a couple of years old when gas was $2, but still came up with the estimates of how much revenues that they would bring in during certain times of months. And the fellow said, now you can, these other times of months, you can keep going, you can do more with that truck. It's just when my stuff needs to roll, I want you to carry it for me, and I'll have a guaranteed price for you. So he told them the revenue thing. So a lot of you may have someone say, you know, you can do this or you can do that and make a ton of money. And you see people buying it for certain prices and get really excited about, wow, I can make a lot of money doing this. But what I have to do as a coach is to encourage us now, that's great. Maybe you can generate that kind of revenue, but let's put the pencil and paper to it to determine what our costs are going to be. Yeah, because those costs will determine, it's not how much you bring in, it's how much you end up with. And indeed, the bigger the numbers are bringing in, the better the chances of having something to end up with. But I'll assure you that if you do $1 million worth of business, you're going to work hard in any business. And in that process, you spent $1 million plus one, you went in the hole, you have red ink, and you're not getting anywhere. So it's not how much revenue you bring in, it's how much revenue you bring in compared to the expenses that it took to get you there and what's left of you after doing all that amount of work. So I'm not bragging, but I am going to tell you that my little business that I work right here in this office at for a long time, last year we went over $1 million in sales. And I can tell you, I worked hard to get there. And I know that if I grow my business, if I keep growing my business, I don't have to have some help to hang in here with me. And I do want to grow the business, but I also want to have a life. So you have to weigh those things out. As you're thinking about growing your business and where you're going, let's start from the beginning to try to build a business that you can enjoy a good income from, make some money above groceries, put some in savings, and enjoy what you're doing and still have time to have a life. Okay? It's a hard balance to make, especially when you're pushing hard to grow a new business, and I know that. So I'm encouraging you to pace yourself and make sure it fits what you want to do. Now let's look at a startup investment here of someone that's buying a truck, or as Valerie does, buys a new van. Just because you go buy the product doesn't mean that's the end of your expenses, because example, for an 18-wheeler to go on the road, they're going to spend about $13,000 out of pocket before that truck goes 1 mile. That's $13,000, not counting the cost of the truck or the trailer. These are the extra expenses. So I'm letting you know that in every business, these startup expenses can surprise you. So that's why it's good to share with me, with your counselor, someone that's working with you, your coach, or the director at the Small Business Center. Talk to them about what your business is and say, help me figure out what my startup expenses might be, because they'll have enough of extra range to know, or they'll know someone like me that has been in a lot of different businesses. They can call and say, give us some information about this particular type of business. Don't be afraid to ask someone that's got gray hair and has been there and done that. Save you a lot of money, time, and effort. And here we go back. Here's that business plan page, listing down your profit centers, taking away your expenses to come up with what's left. And hopefully that what's left is going to be that income goal that you set forth. Now that page could actually go into your business plan. Now, your market analysis is, in a sophisticated business, is writing down basically who your competition is, what the market's been doing, up or down, different trends, different things like that. But usually in a small business, you're just going to describe what's happening in your region, talk about the customers that you think will be your low-hanging fruit. You'll talk about your competitors. You don't have to name them by name, but you'll say, I'll have approximately 20 competitors within a 50-mile range. 10 of them seem to be doing X number of dollars per year. So therefore, I think I can enjoy a certain percentage of market share, in a reasonable length of time. I want you to know that. I want you to know what that market potential is, so you can figure out what your potential market share is. And that market share that is yours is the same number as your projected revenues. It all ties together, and you'll get a good sense of that. Your implementation of a business location, if you're going to be opening up another place, you'll be talking about your operational details, when you plan to operate, how the business will run. You're planning on running promotions, what will they be, and what you think your annual costs will be getting started. Or you don't have help in your business, delegate to other people, talk about that, and talk about your operating hours, just in general terms. If you go into a business location, first, I don't want you to divulge that location in the business plan. If it's a place that you're shopping for or thinking about, because people reading business plans may not be your friends. They may be a loan officer somewhere who they have other friends. So sometimes people will talk about this great rental property they found, and before they get there, someone else is renting it out from under them because they shared the information with too many people. That's kind of a nasty subject. It's a dark subject, but I got to say it because it happens. So if you've got a really good rental location you think's a bargain and someone's holding it for you, then you keep that private. You keep it very private. But you got to think about anytime you're moving into a new business location to open up your new business, there's going to be changes that's got to be made. And whatever you think it's going to take, you can almost always multiply it times 3 because there's surprises around everything. You do one thing, it creates 4 more things to do. So here's a good list of things to look out for to try to figure out how much it will cost you to open up. Now, if this is a rental location, I want you to be really, really careful, and especially if you're going into the food business, the restaurant business, the grill business, the bar business. Because what you're going to be real careful to have to do is not to spend all your time and effort and money working for the landlord. Because landlords love to charge a real big price for rent. And they're considering what their costs are and what they have to do to make their business plan work. And just because some other people may have tried it and seemed to do it, if you're selling hot dogs and hamburgers and sandwiches or steaks, you got to sell a tremendous amount of product. I mean, a tremendous amount of profit to end up with $2,000 to $3,000 to $5,000 to pay in rent. Because on top of that rent, you got to pay insurance, and you got to pay staff, and you got to buy food. So your rental income that you're paying out has to be in a real balance of what your projected revenues are, being really realistic. Be careful here. It's important that you do. This also is where you look at that rent payment when you're going back, figuring out those amount to charge per appointment, like you have a salon, and you know how much you can bring in per day with X number of appointments. Indeed, you may be able to stay 100% busy, you and 2 other operators, and bring in a certain amount of money, but the bottom line is the rent may be so high that instead of having 3 operators in that shop, you needed 5 or 6 to break even. And this is a reality, so we have to consider that. Let's say that you're thinking about opening up that used car lot. And at some lots at By Golly, you can look at it, do your plan like we looked at here, and you can determine, well, if I sell 1 car a week, I'm going to make some good money on that 1 car. But the reality of it is you may have to sell 20 cars a week to pay the rent. That's why you see so many new businesses move in, get set up, and then in just a few months, they're gone. What that says is they did not have a good plan to get started, or they went in underfunded and couldn't make it through those first months of getting started. I don't want you to do that. That's why we're talking about what we're doing tonight. Your management team and a business plan, you just talk about who's going to be doing what, talk about them. If you're going to have investors, you don't list those investors by name, but you might say, I've got 2 investors lined up that are already obligated for $10,000 apiece. I need 2 more for the same amount. Don't list any names here, but just give yourself and the reader, a possible lender, a good idea about what's going on with your finances. List down how many people's going to be working with you and what they're going to do. I would not list their names, but I would say that I've got so-and-so with X number of years of experience. This is a good place you talk about with how much experience you're bringing to the game to encourage an investor to feel good about loaning you money. Anytime now that we're going to need to borrow money or to show a potential vendor that you have enough resources to buy enough of their products to resell, you don't have to cough up your financial information. You have to do financial statements going back probably 5 years. You don't have to produce tax returns to show them that you're legal, that you're stable, that you don't have any liens against you, and such as that. So when you go to borrow money, you don't have to tell all about that. So as young people, if for whatever reason you've decided not to file your tax returns over the past years, I'll tell you, you need to revisit that. Even if someone told you that you didn't need to file them, if you're going to go to a lender, you're going to need to do it. So you can file returns for previous years, and if you didn't owe any money, it's not going to cost you any, but you still need to have that return on file to prove the fact that you're square with the tax people so that the lender will consider doing business with you. Just a matter of record there. New businesses, so it's brand new in business, will have to come up with more information than someone that's been in business for a while. Maybe you don't have a credit history. You might be young and just hadn't got to that point in your life that you had to borrow and repay money, or maybe because of your marital situation, the debts was in someone else's name. Well, it's a good, entrepreneurs need to have a credit history. So I suggest that you at least get some credit cards, use them very softly, so that each month you can pay that bill as soon as it comes in. Paying a credit card bill or any other bill, phone bill or internet bill or TV bill, whatever, paying those power bills, paying those bills the day they come in will automatically help bumping up your credit score. Promptness, they call it, versus waiting until the last due date or maybe sending your check in after and the mail makes it come in late. That's showing that you're paying your bills late, which will lower your credit score. So starting right now as entrepreneurs, pay your bills the day they come in. If you can't pay the whole bill, pay a portion of it. Get that check right back to them, and that will help your credit score. And then as soon as you can, hopefully before it starts being past due, pay the balance of it. But those timely payments are really important to help you move along. If you've got some old debts out there that you know are there, then make an effort to clean them up. Call the debtor, work out an arrangement, do it. If you haven't ever checked your credit score to see what's against it, then you can do that with Experian and the several other credit score companies to know what's on your record, because you don't want to be surprised. And you can get a comprehensive analysis of your credit situation, see if there's any things there that you need to take care of. Here's an example. Maybe 5 years ago, you had a bill that was for $101. And you just wrote the check out for $100. You didn't even think about that extra dollar. You weren't trying to cheat anybody. Maybe it was $100.01, and you sent a check in for $100. Well, I want to tell you that 1 cent is still there, showing it's past due. It's just that ridiculous. And you get enough past dues against you, even a small amount of money, they don't hurt your credit score versus having it cleaned up. So if you've never done it, part of your experience in business life is to get a copy of your credit score, look at it with someone that knows how to help make it improve, and then move forward. It'll be a good step for you down the road. So how are we now going to start getting ready in our business and personal life to move forward. I want you to help your self-confidence. That's a big deal with entrepreneurs. Having the self-confidence to walk up to someone and make a sale, feeling good about promoting your business in public. Valerie, I was so proud of you tonight coming on board here and telling everyone what your business is and all about in a professional manner. And I can say that part of Valerie's self-confidence is attending these classes, making some great videos so that she knows that she's got a good thing and it looks good and sounds good. So each one of y'all want to be able to do that. So if I would say right now to any one of you, tell me about your business. Tell me how we can do business with you. And I know that you'll be able to come right back and talk about it. That is so important for an entrepreneur. Now, I know that Danielle's with us tonight, and she's probably close to getting to that point because she's been working at it now almost a year. And Miss Edna, she's just getting started with it, but she's able to tell us more about it every time we talk. So get that self-confidence, because if you don't have self-confidence in yourself, why does a customer not have confidence in you? And then there's self-assurance. That's that foundation that you've got that, yes, I have improved and enhanced my skills enough that I feel pretty assured that I can handle myself in pretty much anything that's coming along related to my business. That too is where these 30 drill skills can really help you, is getting that self-assurance. A successful entrepreneur owning and running their own business will have leadership skills, because it's going to take your leadership to lead other people to do business with you, to lead other people to recognize the point that you give good advice. Because I want to do business with people that can give me good feedback and help me make better decisions. So you'll increase your skill levels to the point and have that list of frequently asked questions that you can always come back and help people understand what your business is. Be active in your church, take leadership roles, be active in the Chamber of Commerce, let people see that you have leadership abilities, and they will come to you as a business person. Everybody sees everything. And if you're on the back row being quiet all the time and never promoting yourself or your business, not too good. So we have to have the enthusiasm to get up and see and be seen from time to time. We don't have to be a show-off. We don't have to be boisterous and such as that, but just to move around, meet and greet people, so that indeed you start expanding your influence of friends and neighbors and people to do business with. Those are key ingredients: self-confidence, self-assurance, leadership, organization, and enthusiasm. And we'll go through a lot of those in our Entrepreneur Series in the fall, one step at a time, to show you how to get there. But for now, this summer, where can you find the most information to do this? Is one, on those 40 drill skills, watch them, learn them, own them. And two, start doing your own videos. Videos of introduction, yourself and your business, and videos telling about your products and or your services. So go ahead and do that. Now, if y'all give me your email addresses over in this chat board, I really appreciate it, because I would be especially interested in sending to you some videos that some of our previous Academy class members have done. And I'd love to share with you, and certainly we'll be doing some that Valerie has done and a lot of others, just to show you what you can do on your own and with a little help. And old Papo Steve-O here is willing to help you if you let me know. Okay, so make sure I've got your email addresses. Danielle, I think I've got yours. Catherine, make sure that you give me your email address if you don't mind in chat. I see your phone number. I think everybody else we're in pretty good shape on it. I will tomorrow send y'all some videos as well as a video of tonight's presentation. So let's wrap this up a little bit now, okay? Don't wait till things are just right to get your business started. They will never be perfect. Perfect never happens in business. But I will tell you right now that in Eastern North Carolina, this is about as good a time as I have ever seen in my business life to get a business started. We have got a good region for entrepreneurship. Interest rates are very low if you don't have to borrow some money, and business is good. As a matter of fact, business is great. If business wasn't great, we wouldn't be dealing with inflation. And as long as inflation's involved, that means prices are going to be up a little higher, not only for what we have to buy, but also for what we're selling. So if you've got profit centers that we can sell and market during an inflationary time, then you've probably got a business that'll have a good chance for sustainability. So this is a good time. Summertime is a good time to study and learn, to get involved and be ready if you need just a good dose of everything to help get your business started. Plan now to attend at least once a week starting in September, get into a course and earn some certificates and graduate from a class here and have that self-confidence and assurance that you've got a good footing. During that time, you will meet a lot of other entrepreneurs, just like we're on the screen tonight, that you can share emails with and talk about and have questions about. So it is a good time right now. It's a very good time to get a business started, provided that business plan is telling you that there's going to be some black ink on that what's left. So if it doesn't, we need to keep working on it till it does. So believe and trust in yourself. There's going to always be challenges and obstacles. So what? Just go ahead and get started now. Take it one little step at a time. Maybe tonight was your first step in getting started, so that's fine. Congratulations. I had to take my first step, but you know what? Once you get started in your business, even up and really every year, every month, sometimes every day, you'll have thoughts about, well, maybe I can do this well or change this. Entrepreneurship is all about making changes to suit what you're up to, what your schedule will allow, what your health will allow, what your budget will allow, to make the changes to stay in the game. You see, in entrepreneurship, that's being the winner, is staying in the game. It's not to make $1 billion. It's not to be millionaires with lots of airplanes and things like that, or it's not for me. I consider success in entrepreneurship is our ability to stay in the game month after month, be stable, be secure, learn those lessons to help us serve our customers better, be willing to change, to try to be on the front edge of the wave so that we can ride it longer, and then be ready to change products and find something else we can start that ride again. But that takes pacing yourself and making it work. So thank you for being with me tonight. Look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be talking about some important subjects. Always end up by saying, find somewhere to find faith and trust, inspiration. We all need inspiration. I find it with my Jesus. He's with me all the time. I can ask him and talk to him. He doesn't tell me what I want to hear sometimes. But it's good to know that you're not on this trip by yourself. And wherever you find your inspiration in a friend, in music, in these classes, other things, we have to recharge our batteries. So you can recharge your batteries right here with our sessions once a week if you like, and I'll be glad to try to encourage you to do so. So I'll turn it over to you. If you've got some comments to close us out, just flip your microphone on and ask questions or anything else that we want to do. Danielle, I'm glad to see you back. Are things going well with you? And Mary, tell me about what you're up to. The And turn some mics on, guys. Edna, do you have any other questions?
Hey, this is Catherine. My real name is actually Joanna Dauber. Thank you so much for this. This was really informative. I am just starting to put together a small business plan for the area. I have a full-time current job, but I'm looking to kind of get into something that I love and I'm passionate about. So this was really, really helpful. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Catherine. Or you make sure you send me your email address if you would, and we'll try to send you lots of good information to help you along. Do y'all have my email? Let me put it back in chat just so you have it there. I did it wrong. STVCARV@. There you go. Just got that new email address there. And would love to hear from you. Let me know, and I'll put you on my reminder list when we're having additional classes. So thank you very much, Valerie, Edna, Chandria, Catherine, glad to have you for the first time, and Laura, Danielle, and Mary. God bless you all. Hope you have a great Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully we'll get a few rays of sunshine to come in for us for the holiday. But take care, and God bless you and your family.
You too. Thank you so much.
You too, Stevie. You have a safe holiday weekend.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you all. Good night.